Hey everybody, and welcome back to Desperate Measures. So, next thing on our list is going to be gear and non-weapon proficiencies and weapon proficiencies. I think we should start with weapon proficiencies since we've already kind of started down that path, and then we'll move into non-weapon proficiencies, and then we'll move into gear. So, we've already talked about what weapons you have. You'll notice the fourth tab is the skills tab. And that's where we're going to go hang out right now.
Awesome.
So, the skills tab, you'll have a non-weapon section on the left and a weapon section on the right. So any weapons that you already have, add that weapon in there and put one slot under it for use. The fighters, the single-classed fighters of the party, can specialize, which will come into effect shortly.
Basically,
I don't put shield in weapon proficiencies, correct?
Correct. Okay, we do have to talk about your brawling, because there are brawling rules. There are a lot of them, and they are very effective in some areas and super ineffective in other areas.
I would imagine so, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So where is our specialist brawler? Pummeling gains the extra specialist attack and bonus damage. Your attack and bonus damage apply restricted for knockdown. Okay. And the damage for pummeling is pretty light. So your bare fists will inflict D2 damage. If you have some sort of like cestus or brass knuckles.
Brass knuckles.
Yeah, then we can probably bump that up to D4 damage.
Okay.
Which I think is going to be your best bet here.
Okay.
Let me double check this. So what you're going to put in your skills area under weapon proficiencies is going to be pummeling. And you're going to have 2 slots in it instead of 1 because you are a pummeling specialist.
Okay. Does that just represent both hands?
Yeah. We're going to...
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it does.
Okay.
Cool. So... that's why we can't hear anything. So quiet. So let's see. Connor's got dagger, ultra spear, and short bow. Lucas just has the 1 spear. Tom has got club and pummeling, and Will has nothing.
Yes. So
you have wood axe and knife at least, right?
Correct. So for my proficiencies, yeah, I want a wood axe. So I've been chopping trees my whole life. We've been working on that. So we've been chopping trees using knives. For the rest of my proficiencies. Because my family, all right, so I don't know if we said this on stream, so let's back up. So my parents and my family had worked for a long time to make a really good business. And they tried really hard. My grandmother was really in on this, and when I was really young, like 4 or 5, they fucked it up. Just, you know what, bad luck. Jexel didn't bless them, whatever happened. Bad luck. They fucked it all up. Basically, everybody died or was executed or imprisoned. Bad news.
Terrible.
It was horrible news. I mean, it's why I'm still a peasant, right? So me and Grandma fucked on off to the other side of the continent, and I've been living with her, taking care of her. So what proficiencies should I have? I'm not really quite sure here, Neal. So could you help me out?
Yeah. For now, let's just talk about weapon. How long have you been a woodcutter?
You know what? I was like 6 or 7, and so Grandma sent me to the trees at like 10, so for like ever, and we're like 34. Let's say.
When did your shop burn down? How old were you when that burned down?
We were like 6 or 7. We were real young.
Okay, so
like
it burned down. You guys moved, and then you became a woodcutter.
Exactly.
Okay, so we're gonna give you a specialization with your axe, with your wood axe, and a proficiency with your knife. And is there any other weapon that you think you might be, proficient with?
I think the backside of the axe, because you're sitting there, as you're splitting wood, you hit the wedges on the backside. You don't actually need the front side. You just need to hit on the backside like a hammer to hit like the top of the wedges to split the wood, right?
Okay, I still think that falls under the purview of your axe, though. It's still the same weapon. Maybe we'll give your axe the option of doing slashing or
non-lethal?
bludgeoning damage.
Non-lethal on the backside, maybe with bludgeoning.
I wouldn't say non-lethal, but we can do like slashing or bludgeoning. You know.
Okay.
Well, we'll use
fair.
the regular non-lethal rules, which are separate and different. But we'll give your axe a slashing damage and a bludgeoning damage. Is there any other weapons that you might have picked up? I can't think of any off the top of my head, but maybe you have some lore or something you want to inject.
Knife and dagger, taking care of grandma. I don't really think anything else. No.
Okay, so you will be able to fold your additional unused weapon proficiency into your non-weapon proficiencies, which would be cool. Tom, you've got a club and your fists.
Yep.
Is there anything else you might have learned how to use as a weapon throughout your life?
Yeah, I mean the background that I had thought of was sort of I guess when you're on the streets you kind of improvise with a lot of stuff. I don't know about daggers. Might be something that you would be somewhat good at.
Yeah. We can. I think a knife or a dagger proficiency makes perfect sense for you.
Sure.
Great. And as a fighter, you start with 4 slots, and you've used 4: 2 for pummeling, 1 for dagger / knife, and 1 for club. So let's move on to Lucas, the cleric. I do believe clerics get 2 weapon proficiencies to start. So other than a spear, is there anything that you might know how to use as a weapon?
Am I able to give up a weapon proficiency and take a shield proficiency instead? Someone was talking about that.
There are shield proficiencies. They're more like expertise with a shield, but I think you would need to have some sort of formal training for that. And we're a down and dirty bunch of group here, so I don't know. Is there some reason why you might have a shield background?
I guess I would just assume, like, I don't know. I thought clerics would kind of be trained in being more defensive and like being able to like take hits or whatever. And I guess like the shield would kind of let me do that. So
maybe in the good times, but in the bad times, the clerics are. Yeah, it's the bad times. Training's gone down the hill. The clerics are just sort of like whoever has magical powers that pops up is like the cleric, and there's no further leadership to train you because it's everything's in chaos.
Could I ask this from what kind of dwarf do you think you are? Are you like a hill dwarf or like a mountain dwarf? Where are you from?
Ooh.
I guess I'm from this area. So what is like the?
You'll have to be a hill dwarf to be from this area.
Hill dwarf, then.
Yeah, okay. We'll bring up a map in a bit and show it around. But you'll definitely have to have been a hill dwarf. There's one mountain. There's 2 mountain ranges around here. One of them is owned and run by the dragon, and the other just has a mithril mine at the top of it, and not much else going on in it.
Well, I was going to say,
mithril up there.
There is mithril up there, but it is controlled heavily by the state and not easily accessible to others.
By the dragon.
Also controlled by the dragon.
What were you going to say, Will?
Oh, I was going to say maybe his dwarf was from the Dwarven people who taught him how to do it or how to use his shield, and then he came over to help out the humans because we're incompetent.
I do come from the great, the great, as I say, shield hill dwarves, known
for their
shields. The greatest shields. I mean, and the reason that we have shields is because we're from the hills, so we live in the trees, and usually we make most of our weapons out of shields because in the hills there are
horrible monsters who come
Did
down.
you say you make most of your weapons out of shields?
Sorry, we make most of our weapons with shields. Like we have a shield and then we have a weapon to protect against the horrible monsters that are attacking us, which are usually like cats. So usually we have the shield to like fend off where their bite goes, and then we like stab them with our spears. That's why I'd have a shield. That's my case.
Let's take a look at the map that I brought you all to in Roll20.
Love it.
I'm going to circle the area that you're from. You might want to zoom in on it because, we're going to be looking at this area in particular. It actually does come down to here as well.
I see shenanigans.
Yeah. So we're over here. The party is going to have been from this southern part of the kingdom. This is the part that's been screwed over the most. And there's a lot of halflings that live in this area, and there are going to be a few dwarves, just a few. So you're going to be from these hilly areas, and you definitely weren't imported. Dwarves tend to be very family focused and very loyal. That's probably the hardest thing you've ever done, is coming here and leaving your family behind. So you weren't like, you definitely wouldn't have been a dwarf that came to help out the people and left your own people behind. That's like, that's treason and traitor talk in dwarven society.
Is this
So he couldn't.
gnomes, tomes, and catacombs? Because if it is, then I could have a reason for leaving Half Hill. I could have lived there.
I don't think there's enough time in between the events for that to have happened. If you're going to be the cleric here, you would have had to been here for a long time, probably born and raised.
Okay.
Yeah.
Born and raised.
So he couldn't have been from the Draken Ridge and moved over. It doesn't seem too far for that.
Nope.
That's like 30 miles, 40 miles to the hills.
Definitely not something that would have happened. No.
Absolutely. Then I believe you, Neal.
Okay.
100%.
Cool. Yeah, I think it's going to be important that you're all from the same area and you all have roots in the same area. That's the one glue that binds this party together, is the shared conflict in the past.
Okay.
The Laconish Highlands.
Ah, yes. The Laconish Highlands. They are a dangerous area. There are giants and trolls and ogres and hobgoblins that live out there, in addition to scarier, more sneaky monsters.
And you know what happens if somebody hits you with a club and you don't have a shield? You die.
Bad things happen.
But if
Well,
you have a shield,
thank God you're a cleric who lives in the middle of town surrounded by plenty of other people.
Amen.
All
Well,
right.
how do you think I feel being the guy with arguably the most HP in the party? And I'm like, well, I'm good with my fists. Maybe a knife. Maybe a
All
club.
I'm saying
And I was gonna
is-
say, yeah.
So I was just say, as long as you're not a halfling running away from an ogre, I think you're in a good spot. And then as long as Neal avoids the good dice, I think you're fine.
Sure. Well, I mean, I was gonna ask the same thing about shield proficiencies, but when it came to explaining how I basically pinned myself into a corner with my origin, I'm like, I really can't say where I came across a shield in the back room brawls of the streets, other than like if it's a wood plank I picked up off the ground and decided to bash somebody across the head with it. That's about it.
Yeah. Also,
but that's not really a proficiency.
There's two different types of shield proficiency. One is being better at blocking incoming attacks with the shield, and the other is being able to use the shield as a weapon while you're still fighting. So one's called a shield proficiency, one is called a shield specialization.
Gotcha.
It is an awkward combination of words here. I'm sorry, it's called the weapon and shield fighting style and a shield proficiency or specialization. And I think for either of them, you would need fairly formal training. And I don't think anyone here has formal weapons training.
Okay.
The one thing I did... Oh, yeah, go ahead. No, go for it.
Dagger specialization then, probably?
You can get a dagger proficiency, yes, definitely.
What does that do?
That will give you no penalties to hit when you attack with the dagger.
Yep.
Because otherwise you fight at -3. This is a good thing to talk about. In 2nd edition,
3 or 4.
if you are a fighter and you want to fight with a weapon you don't know how to use, you fight at -2 to hit. If you are a cleric, you fight at -3 to hit. Same thing for rogues. Wizards fight at -5, but we don't have rogues or wizards here, so we don't have to worry about them. So any of you could pick up any weapon and use it, but you'll get penalties to your attack rolls because you're not proficient with it. Yeah.
Right.
Cool. I did want to talk to you about one thing, Tom. You're a brawler. And if you want to attack with both of your hands, you can do so, but that's what we refer to as dual wielding.
Dual wielding.
And that gives that gives real penalties for combat. So we might want to drop out your dagger or knife specialization and give you a 2-weapon fighting specialization, which allows you to have fewer penalties with your attack rolls.
Yeah, if that's the case, I would rather. Yeah, which would you think I should drop? Should I drop the club or the dagger?
I think you should drop the dagger, because the club is something you're going to want to be able to, like, a club is an easy improvised weapon. And the one thing we haven't talked about your pummeling is if you're trying to pummel someone with a weapon, they will get opportunity attacks against you. So every time you make every time you try and punch somebody with a sword, they get a free attack to hit you. So there may be a time where you're going to want to pick up like a big stick to beat off an enemy with a weapon.
Ambidextrous, does he automatically get
You want to beat off the enemy often.
Yeah. Well, when it comes to fighting with 2 weapons, there are 2 things that modify this. Let's talk about the base, though. When you fight with 2 weapons, your first attack is at -2 to hit. Your second attack is at -4 to hit. If you are ambidextrous, you treat both attacks as if they're your primary hand, so they both happen at -2. If you have the 2 weapon style of fighting, then you decrease each penalty by 2. So if you have, if you're ambidextrous, you get -2 to each attack. If you're a regular right-handed person with 2 weapon fighting, then your first attack is at no penalty and your second attack is at -2. And if you're both ambidextrous and have 2 weapon fighting, then your attacks have no penalties to them.
No penalty. Gotcha.
Right. So what you should do is you should take 2 weapon style, and then you have a natural 1 in 10 chance of being ambidextrous, which we should roll for right now. So roll a 1d10 and roll a 1.
Okay.
I thought you wanted to roll a 10.
It doesn't matter, but
it's a 10 or 1. I mean,
roll a 1. We're calling it a 1 right now.
Okay, so I'm just rolling a d10.
A d10.
Yeah. Okay.
You want to roll a 1? Oh, okay. You're a regular right-handed person.
Damn.
Right.
Okay. Cool, but you have 2 weapon style, so you'll be.
Yeah.
You'll make an attack with your right hand, and then you can always make an extra attack with your left hand at a -2 penalty, but it's a free attack, so that's hella bomb.
Yeah.
And that'll make up for your other shit.
We'll just say I'm orthodox style as opposed to switch or a southpaw. Yeah.
Right, and you can, as you level up, you can put stuff into that. When you hit 3rd level, you'll get another weapon proficiency, and you can put that right into there. You can put that into ambidexterity, and then you'll have no penalties anymore.
Oh, okay. So when I level up, I can potentially just get that, and
you'll get that shit as you level. Cool.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
I forgot where we were. We hadn't gotten to Connar yet. That's where we are. Yep. So no, we were still in Lucas. You were gonna do a dagger and a spear for weapons, right, Lucas? Yep. Perfect.
But he wanted a shield, right? Like that was his.
He can have a shield, but he can't have a specialization with the shield.
Can you get a specialization later?
Yeah, that's something that you guys can potentially get down the road. Absolutely, 100%. Connar, you've got dagger, spear, and short bow. You have 1 more weapon proficiency. What do you want to do with it?
I've been thinking about it. There are a lot of things that make sense. Club would make sense because, I mean, you don't want to ruin the pelt. Club them. Axe would also, like a hand axe would make sense. Like, you don't need the full wood cutting axe necessarily, but, you know, just like be able to make your own fires and shit. Maybe even throw it.
Totally.
Yep. Probably go with club because you can turn anything into a club.
A club, I completely agree. Club is a great weapon to have on hand. You can use it in all sorts of situations. Fantastic. All right, that's the easy part, everyone. Now we're gonna do the hard part. So, warriors, that's everyone but Lucas. You get 3 non-weapon proficiencies plus the number of languages you can speak, which is under your basic column of your character sheet, right next to your intelligence. So for Connar, it'll be 3 + 1. For Tom, it'll be 3 + 1. For Will, it'll be 3 + 4 is 7 non-weapon proficiencies for Will. Lucas, you are a cleric, so you get 4 plus the number of languages you can speak, which is 2. So you get 6.
And now, where do I have these to choose from again?
In our Discord, I have linked you a bunch of documents. You're going to want to take a look at the NWP document. That's the middle one. And the last one is the definitions. Because the one that I've linked, the non-weapon proficiency one, is a spreadsheet. And it's listed in alphabetical order. And I'm going to just walk us through really quickly what all of this means. I'm going to try and also bring it up for chat so they can see the nonsense that we're talking about. And that way, if you guys need to follow along, you can follow along as well. All right, so we got this big-ass spreadsheet. It's a mess. You got the name of the thing that you're looking at on the left side, the number of proficiency slots it costs in the next column, the score that it keys off in the third, any prime requisites that you might need to have before you can learn that thing on the fourth, and then the basic modifier to that ability on the fifth column. I know it's a lot, just bear with me. The last 4 columns are all who is allowed to get these. So, for example, you'll see that under administration, warriors, rogues, wizards, and priests can become administrators. So they can get that proficiency without any questions. Alchemy, however, is only available to wizards. So if a warrior, a rogue, or a priest wants to get alchemy, they have to spend 1 more slot on top of the cost. So for wizards, alchemy is 2. For warriors, alchemy costs 3, right? Okay. If that makes sense. Sure. Don't worry about the highlighting. That just tells me what book it's from, so it's fine. Don't even sweat it. Gotcha. So you're going to want to go through here and find skills that you might have learned in life. Cool. If you don't have a skill, your character's not going to have it. So if you don't take swimming, your character does not know how to swim.
Can't swim.
If you don't take literacy, your character cannot read or write. So our cleric is going to need to take literacy. You have to, because you're a cleric. But other than that, you know, that's all sort of up in the air for you. So gotcha. Scroll through this list, find some things that jump out to you, put them on your character sheet, and then we'll make sure that you haven't gone over your total allotment of slots. Connor, you're going to definitely want to take leatherworking, which I think you've already put it in. Good boy.
Yep.
Good child. Good job. Pat on head.
Oh, excellent.
Leatherworking, tracking, and direction sense. Those are great.
I mean, I just get tracking for free.
Oh, because you're a ranger. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I put that in skills.
You'll put that in skills on the left side.
For a ranger?
Got it.
Yeah.
Oh, badass. That's fantastic.
I just get it, and then I keep getting a +1 every 3 levels.
So when it says prereq, does that mean you have to have the other? You have to have the other proficiency in order to have that proficiency.
Yeah. What are you looking at?
I understand. So okay. No, I was just curious. So like, I understand now. So like, animal training requires animal handling. You have to know how to handle animals before you can train. I get
there you go. Yeah. Okay.
That makes sense.
You're a good smart cookie. I'm glad Mooten brought you along.
What are you guys thinking? Anyone want to talk about what they're looking for?
Well, I'm trying to figure out with Grandma what I need to do here, right? Like, we've been taking care of her for our whole life, but do we really need to get all the way up to healing to take care of Grandma? Is that really necessary?
You're definitely not a trained healer. No way. Because if you were a trained healer, you wouldn't be a woodsman. You would be a healer for your job. You know, that would be...
But, like, Grandma saved us from out of town, and we've been living with her my whole life, so we've just been taking care of her. That's why we're still where we're at, right? Like, most of our time and effort has been taking care of her. And with no trained healing, that could take more time than necessary. So could we get like a lack of proficiency? Could we like dumb down a proficiency somewhat so it takes more time?
You want like a negative healing proficiency?
I want between non-proficiency and proficiency, somewhere in between, right? Like untrained proficiency.
Oh,
right?
No, that's too many degrees of narrowness here.
Well, I'll say we could take your prerequisites and then we could just cut it in half or whatever it was on your modifier. If it was a positive, we would take a positive, or is that too much for you?
I don't really understand what you mean. You don't want to be a proficient healer, but you don't want to be an untrained healer. You want to be halfway between untrained and proficient, which I don't know what sort of mechanical advantages that would even give you.
So it would be like 3/4 proficiency, I guess. So like if you're not proficient, you're halfway, correct, in 2E? And if you're proficient, you're 100%, let's say. So if you're halfway, you'd be 3/4. So halfway between proficient and unproficient.
Okay. My big counter to this is that just because you got a sick grandma doesn't make you a healer. Like,
right, but we've been doing this since I've been 8 years old. But
what I'm saying is that, like,
year of my life.
Sick grandma might have one specific condition that you treat. Healing proficiency covers all sorts of ailments. It covers fevers, covers injuries, covers broken bones, covers toxid. Like, it covers a broad area. If you got a sick grandma that you take care of, you're a sweetheart, but you ain't no healer. Like, you can't patch up Joe Schmo who got hit in the chest with a battle axe because your grandma's, like, you know, got consumption, if that makes sense.
Fair enough. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
All right, well, somebody else, you're up.
Anyone else have anything they want to ask about or talk about?
The modifier column, I'm sorry. Can you go over that again? I'm sorry.
Sure. So let's say you have an animal handling proficiency. That keys off of your wisdom, which is the same as your willpower. So you have 6 willpower, 6 wisdom. So if you want to make an animal handling check, you roll a wisdom check. Then the modifying column is what that modified is by. So animal handling keys off of wisdom, but is kind of hard. So there's a -1 penalty to that. So you would roll a d20 +6, which is your wisdom, -1, right?
Okay, I understand.
So that's the difficulty column almost.
Because currently I'm looking at running, which seems to be one of the only Constitution related abilities. Actually, it seems like it is the only.
I think it's the only Constitution one. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm seeing that's a -6, and I was like, ooh.
Yeah. And this is where that last sheet I linked you is going to come into play. The sheet with the definitions, because the definition for running here isn't so much like speed; it's more of like endurance runner.
Perfect. Like, okay, gotcha.
You can be a messenger and take shit far.
Right, and that's why it's hard, because you got to push. Yeah, I gotcha. Yeah. I gotcha. Okay.
How do you feel about Omen rating for my Tempos Cleric? That's probably fine.
That seems perfect. Yeah, that actually seems very like spot on.
In character.
Yeah. So how many are warriors? I'm sorry, with base proficiencies?
They start with 3 plus your number of languages.
3 plus language? Okay.
Yeah, and I think you get 4 languages, so you should have 7 total. Connor, you did 3 and 1 for 4. You got tracking for free. Leatherworking, direction sense, hunting, I think are all 1. Right?
Yep,
so
I'm still working on my last one.
Perfect. Got 1 more to go.
I should know etiquette, right? As a cleric?
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily, okay.
You can if you want.
On our character sheet, when we're putting these in, or are we putting these in right now, or?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, non-weapon proficiency. Okay, I see it now. Yeah.
Perfect. Connor, I'm just going to switch up some columns where your modifiers are. The base is the base modifier. The adjustment is like as you level up.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Stupid shit. Right. Lucas has got literacy and omen reading thus far. That is what, 3 slots out of your
3 more.
4 plus 2 is 6. Yeah, so you're halfway there. Sorry, I'm fucking up everything. 3 out of 6. Tom's
Do you have any
looking
others you'd recommend?
For a dwarven cleric of Tempos, Fate and Time. You might just want to pick up some like background things that you might have,
like ancient knowledge or whatever.
Ancient knowledge. Well, tell me about who are you? Who are you, man?
His name is. Forgot it. It's not coming up. Oh, his name is Ebner. He's a cleric of Tempos. He pretty much studied. I'm guessing there's like a higher cleric in his order, or would he be like the only? I don't know how clerics work again.
Yeah, so at this point in time, you are the only cleric in the town, and you've probably been the only cleric in this town for like 60 years. Since you're a dwarf, you're going to be older.
Do you think I had to go somewhere to like learn the cleric shit, or did it
No, it's innate. It's a blessing of the gods. One day you were praying to Tempos, and like a minor miracle happened, and then you prayed some more and did some more shit, and all of a sudden you're fucking casting spells. So it's it's a personal connection with your Lord and Savior.
Okay, I thought it was something that you more like kind of studied, but no, that makes sense. I guess I should probably know languages ancient, because I'm guessing a lot of the old Tempos books, because he's a god, right? So a lot of them are probably like really ancient languages and stuff like that.
Okay. Why don't I say? Why don't we say, instead of everyone else is going to just basically speak the common language of Mystria, where you're from. You might have learned all the nearby languages, so you could pick up Eridonian, you could pick up Dracissian, you could pick up. You'll definitely already start with Dwarven and Common, but you can spend a slot on languages modern, is what we call it. Okay. And that would get you the other
common is what you're saying, right?
Yeah, you guys will all speak mystery in common, but he might also speak Eridonian common and Dracissian common, because the languages haven't changed that much over time. But this is how you still get the language buff and the knowledge buff, is through modern languages. I like that.
Cool.
So you're gonna want to pick some languages that you know.
Okay. What are like so I get 2 for.
Let's take a look. Languages. Oh, it's not on the other list. So I think it's just 1 proficiency equals 1 language. And you start with Dwarven and Mystrian, And the other ones that I would recommend to you might be halfling. Those are people that live nearby, but they usually all speak common. Eridonian and Drakissian. Those are like the big 3 that you might want to know.
Do you think I should spend all 3 of my points on that, or should I just spend one of them and then 2 and 2?
I would at least get Eridonian because you guys are going to be going to Eridon. And then Halfling and Drakissian are both like super good choices if there's nothing else you want. Like, why don't you call those your backup and then see if there's anything else that calls out to you.
Definitely Eridonian. We'll see if I can find something else.
Yeah. Connor, if you haven't already picked another one, you might want to consider fire building. If you're a woodsman and it's raining and you need to build a fire with wet stuff, that might be super useful.
I was going to pick that up, but if you want to, Connor, if you got nothing else to spend, then it's cool. I got you.
Yeah. I was thinking that or rope use.
Oh, you've already got it.
I got one of those too, so
and I was just like,
I'm on board for the useful person. I got you.
Nice.
Oh, I was gonna check.
That's what I'm going for.
You want to do healing?
Yeah, would healing be fine?
Yeah, healing does have an anatomy prerequisite, so it'll be you'll need to take anatomy, which is 1 slot, and then healing, which is 2 slots. So that'll be all 3 of your slots, and you won't get either of those any of those other languages.
Fuck healing.
Yeah,
we don't need it.
You'll have Cure Light Wounds as a spell anyway.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, are we really
we're not
for Tippos?
Yeah, we're not going to be using the new test cleric system. It needs more work before I bring it into another campaign.
So we're not using the 2 Neal cleric?
No, we're going to use standard cleric.
Okay.
Oh, at least standard cleric spells, but we'll still be using the other 2 Neal stuffs from the cleric, if that makes sense.
So I'll still have like the blessings and stuff, right? Like
no. We're going to get rid of the blessings. We're gonna give you a fat spell list, which I'm going to PM you in Discord. Nice. Mr. Mootin, here is our classic 2E spell list. These are all the first, second, all the spells, and you get to pick spells from the first spell slot columns.
Oh joy!
There's a lot of them. The wonderful thing is, as you're a cleric, you know all of the first level spells, and you just can pick which ones you want to memorize on which days.
For that day.
Yeah. So you don't have to worry about, did I learn this spell? Did I learn that spell? You get to pick whatever you want.
Nice.
So is it really more flavor text which kind of cleric he is?
No, they have completely different spell lists.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So you just knowledge bomb on Mootin right here. You just dropped a whole bunch of information.
Yep.
Time to read.
Oh yeah. You don't have to pick your spells today. You can read them another day.
Definitely will. I'm gonna grab religion as well.
Ah, classic.
And I'll probably just throw in another. I'll look a little bit more.
Okay.
You can sit on it, right? You could technically save it for something else later, Neal. Yeah.
Nope. You start with them now, or you don't, or they're gone. Yep. And you don't have to spend all of your non-weapon proficiencies. There's no requirement. Looks like Tom got running, tumbling, swimming, and jumping. Oh, fantastic! Nice. The athlete of the party.
I was either going to do that, or I was going to try to go like a little bit more surprising by taking out the swimming and the jumping, and then maybe just being literate, which seems out of the ordinary for a backstreet brawler. But then I realized that having somebody that would know how to swim might be important. So
I think having running, swimming, jumping, tumbling are all going to be fantastic skills that the party will need from time to time, and it's going to be great to have somebody that's got them.
Sure.
I think you've done good here.
Yeah.
And so... Oh, you've already filled out that shit. Do any of them have modifiers? Right, so running has a -6 base. Whoops, not -9. I can't type. Does tumbling have tumbling? It has no modifier. Swimming has no modifier, and jumping has no modifier. Beautiful. So you look good. Connor looks good.
And I think I'm gonna grab. Oh, sorry.
No,
Arcanology.
Arcanology. So that will cost you 2 slots because priests don't normally have access to it.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Oh, I think it cost me 3 slots actually. so I'm not gonna grab it actually.
Okay. No, it should cost you 2 slots.
Oh, really? On the thing, I think it says -3.
-3 is the modifier that you start with.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
I'll just grab the other language, halfling.
Fantastic. All right, so Lucas, you're going with literacy, religion, omen reading, and 2 languages, right?
Yep.
Literacy, omen reading, religion, and 2...
Eridonian and halfling.
Right. Perfect.
You know what? This is perfect then.
Is this right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Don't you get 6? Oh, is omen reading 2?
Omen reading is 2.
Okay, there we go. That's where it's... Okay, perfect. Great. And Will, looks like it's just up to you. What are you getting here, Will?
We're getting rope use, we're getting swimming, and what was the other one, Connor? We were talking about earlier. I said I would get. It was rope use, and there's another one.
Fire building?
Fire building. That's correct.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah. So I got rope use and fire building for sir.
Okay. Excellent.
So rope use, I think, is just a 1. Fire building is just a 1. So that leaves me with 5 left. Literacy is 2. We'll take one of those 2 because it seems like everyone needs to be literate in this party. So let's roll with it.
You will be the only there'll only be 2 literate people here if you pick it.
There'll be 3, right? There'll be Mooten. There'll be.
Oh no, I didn't pick that.
I did not
pick
pick
it. Yeah, sorry.
I'm sorry.
I was thinking about doing that, but no, I didn't. Yeah, sorry.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I'll back up here.
So
then.
you have like 7 slots though, Will. You got a crap ton of things that you could learn.
Right, but I've only got 5 left after rope use and fire building. And as a warrior, we're taking basically 2 apiece. So we're basically down to 2 to 3 max more things we can pick, right?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of single slot things you could get. If you want,
I picked swimming if that makes it any easier. I picked swimming, so I don't know if
you
you're
know what,
thinking
we're
about
gonna take
dropping
instead
something.
of literacy, we're gonna take cooking because we're gonna make the good food.
Nice.
Oh yeah.
Because everyone needs a good food. And then what else we have? That leaves us with 4 left, and we'll take swimming because we're a quality individual. We know how to swim.
Well-rounded.
Absolutely. So that leaves us with 4 left, I believe. What else are we gonna do, guys? What else do we need? As somebody who lives in the forest and chop trees, what else can we pull from here?
Rope use,
can I pull
fire building?
We've got fire building. Can I pull like something to pull, like little mushrooms or something else for a wizard shop? Can we? I guess it'd be an herbologist or it'd just be herblore, but
That would be herbalism. There's probably not a wizard shop around, but if you want to have herbalism, that might make sense as like a semi-healing stat. Because you want that
I think
halfway
it's
healing
more-
proficiency.
What I was thinking of was the wizard shop needs those rare items sometimes. They have to spread out their tendrils to get people to go out in the woods to find what they need, right? So every now and again, I need to know what I'm looking for, but maybe that's too far.
Maybe, but it's unlikely there's any wizard shops around. You're from an impoverished area. All the smart wizards have already left town.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah.
So maybe gaming then? We'll probably play some games.
Gaming? Okay.
Yeah.
That's great. Pro gamer over here.
Games. Absolutely. I'm a very big programmer for sure.
Love it.
We'll fix those in a minute. Lumberjacking I should definitely have.
Oh, yeah, you definitely need lumberjacking. I can't believe I didn't think of that to begin with.
That's why we work together, Neal. That's why we're a good team. What else we got here?
I sorted the list by all the fighter proficiencies at the top and all the non-fighters at the bottom, just so
I
it'll
got
be easier.
2 left.
Right, lumberjacking goes here. Lumberjacking. Perfect.
What else does somebody do who lives on the edge of the forest all the time with grandma? What do you do for fun? Or what happens out there?
You might want fishing or something to like get some food when you can't make any money.
You know, that's a good call. Fishing's probably a good one. Then we need one more.
Did you already get survival? Is that? I mean, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
that
fishing and
seems obvious,
survival. Perfect.
but-
No, that's
Okay.
Survival is a 2-slot proficiency.
Oh, is it?
Oh, damn. I'm sorry.
No, then let's just do survival over fishing. That's
Okay.
Torturing.
What comes in a survival?
It's like an intelligence.
Let's see. This proficiency must be applied to a specific environment, a specific type of terrain and weather factors. They typically include Arctic or woodland or desert or plains or tropical, something like that. Mountains are usually a separate type, or not usually a separate type, you know, because your mountains could be tropical or wooded or snow-covered or whatever. Character has basic survival knowledge of that type of terrain, and additional proficiency slots can add more terrain types. A character skilled in survival has the basic knowledge of hazards he might face in that land. He understands the effects of weather and knows the proper steps to lessen the risk of exposure. He knows the methods to locate or gather drinkable water. He knows how to find basic, not necessarily appetizing food where none is apparent. Mechanically, it means you can spend, you can make a proficiency check, which will take you 1d6 hours to find water when no water can be found. Ooh, or 2d6 turns. Each turn is 10 minutes. So 20 minutes to 2 hours to find food for one person. This is going to be foraging. And if you were trying to like forage for everybody, then you can, there's some optional rules there, but basically you can find food or water in emergency situations, and you understand the perils inherent to an area. Yeah, if you're a woodcutter.
If I take rope use, cooking, fire building, gaming, lumberjacking, and survival, I feel like that's pretty straightforward. I feel like that's pretty good. I need to adjust my modifiers and stuff, but I think that's right. I think that seems good.
So survival, you will be doing woodland survival then, as a woodsman.
Yeah, for sure. Or whatever, wherever you want to start us off, whatever my natural surroundings is there.
Yeah, your natural surroundings is going to be woodlands, and that is based on int with no modifier. Okay, excellent. So we've got our stats, we've got our classes, we've got our saving throws, we've got our non-weapon and our weapon proficiencies. I think the last big thing is general gear, and it looks like Connar is already ahead of the game on this one.
Ooh.
So that first document that I linked you in chat is our gear document.
Got it.
Why don't we go and take another break before we do the gear, because all of this spreadsheeting is tedious as fuck. So we'll see you guys in 5 to 10 minutes for some gear. See you guys on the other side of our break. Bye-bye.